When you think of the major aviation hubs in Asia, some of the names you'll probably recognize are Singapore, Tokyo, Seoul, and Hong Kong. Along with being the home to major Asian airlines, the airports in the major cities are also home to major cargo operations along with being appealing transit options. Then there's Taiwan, an island nation which also happens to be a major Asian industrial power. Its capital city of Taipei is served by two major airports, Songshan and Taipei Taiwan International Airport, both which have played significant roles in the aviation history of Taiwan and even into the present. It's for that reason this video will highlight the dual airports of Taipei, the capital of Taiwan. Similar to the cities with dual hubs, it's usually the second airport which is usually a distance away from the major city. In the case of Taipei, Taiwan International Airport is the primary international gateway to the country, which is located 50 kilometers west of the city. It happens to be the newer of the two airports serving Taipei. Compared to Taiwan International Airport, Songshan is located closer to the city, and it is here where we begin the history of the two hubs. The history of Songshan Airport predates World War II, as prior to the war, it was under Japanese control. During the period of the 1920s and 1930s, aviation was mostly under military operations. Like many Asian air hubs with a history of military operations, Songshan Airport during that time was known as Taihoku Airfield. While the airfield would primarily be serving military operations, in the 1930s there began a push to develop it as an aviation hub. In 1936, it was renamed the Matsuyama Aerodrome, which would serve an initial network of flights to local destinations along with Japan and mainland China. This would lead into World War II as the airfield would be a major base of operations as part of the Japanese war efforts, and with that, it would also become a target for enemy forces. The attacks would come from the Republic of China Air Force, which at the time was the ruling government of mainland China. This would be the case until the end of World War II, as after the end of Japanese occupation, Taiwan would be under the control of the Republic of China. However, it wouldn't be long before another war would affect the history of Taiwan, a civil war in China that would result in the establishment of the People's Republic of China. The opposing side of this conflict, the Republic of China, would later set up its government in Taiwan, which to this day, mainland China's government, the People's Republic of China, still claims Taiwan as part of its territory. As a result of this split, there would be no cross-strait flights between China and Taiwan, with the exception of flights to Hong Kong and Macau, which for the most part were territories of Portugal and Great Britain until the late 1990s. So in 1950, Taiwan was an independent nation, which was the Republic of China, and Songshan Airport would be the initial gateway to the capital city. Songshan Airport would be known simply as Taipei Airport, which would start seeing domestic and international flights in 1950. Within the next 2 decades, the route network would grow throughout Asia, leading to the formation of Taiwan's first flag carrier, China Airlines, in 1959. It was at Taipei Airport where China Airlines initially formed and developed its network, though by the 1970s there was a bigger demand for aviation. In anticipation of the future demand, another airport would be built in the Taiwan district outside of the city center, which we now know as Taipei Taiwan International Airport. However, upon opening in 1979, the new premier gateway to Taipei was actually named after Chiang Kai-shek, the first president of Taiwan. The then newly built airport featured a terminal covering an area of 169,500 square meters with 22 gates. At the time, it was a modern hub, and it would take on the international flights from Songshan, which would continue to see the operations of domestic flights. From there, the Chiang Kai-shek International Airport would continue to see the growth of Taiwan's aviation industry. These developments would continue the formation of EVA Air in 1991. It would also eventually see more expansion by the 2000s as a new Terminal 2 with 20 gates was opened, and it was there that EVA Air would move its operations. Along with the growth of passenger traffic, Chiang Kai-shek International Airport would also rise to be a major cargo hub thanks to the manufacturing sector of Taiwan. While the Chiang Kai-shek International Airport oversaw the growth of international traffic to and from Taiwan, it was a much different story for Songshan Airport. After relinquishing international flights to Chiang Kai-shek International Airport, there was also an issue of domestic flights becoming less viable in Taiwan, as Taiwan's highway system was developed further, along with increased competition from bus companies, allowed for better ground transportation to and from destinations within main Taiwan island. Later in the late 2000s, specifically in 2007, local ground transportation would improve further with the opening of Taiwan's high-speed rail line, connecting Taipei to cities such as Taichung and Kaohsiung. With this, it would have been more practical to take a commercial flight to offshore destinations such as to the islands of Kinmen and Pengchu. Seeing route cuts and service reductions, they were major points of discussion for the idea of closing Songshan Airport, along with issues of noise pollution and being around the urban areas, which has restricted development around the area. Despite being on the verge of closure, Songshan clearly had some benefits, and one of those benefits was being closer to the city center, making it a potential hub for business travel, and there would be an opportunity for the revival of Songshan thanks to cross-strait travel. The Chiang Kai-shek Airport, which was then renamed as the Taipei Taiwan International Airport, was already having its own issues to handling the large amounts of air traffic it was getting. So seeing the demands of the air travel demand in Taiwan and Taipei, the Taipei city government ended up not closing the Songshan Airport, thus giving it a new lease on life. In 2008, Songshan would receive the first charter flights from China, marking the start of Golden Eastern Asia route operations from the airport. Its route network would be to destinations in China, Korea, and Japan, mostly catering to business travelers, favoring flights to and from air hubs closer to their offices. Within this network, some of the flight destinations from Songshan included flights to Tokyo Haneda, Seoul Gimpo, and Shanghai's Hongqiao Airport in favor of operating to bigger hubs that are not necessarily closer to the city centers. To boost this, there have been some air pacts between Taiwan and countries like Japan to boost flights to Songshan, which are now operated by airlines such as China Airlines and EVA Air, along with other airlines like Air China, ANA, Japan Airlines, and China Eastern. While Songshan has found its part in aviation in Taiwan, most of the airline services would remain at Taiwan International Airport, which in 2019 welcomed around 48.6 million travelers, making it the 10th busiest international airport, according to Airports Council International, and the 36th busiest worldwide. Taiwan International Airport is the preferred air hub for transcontinental budget airlines and major airlines around the world serving Taiwan, along with the local-based airlines China Airlines, EVA Air, Starlux, and Tiger Air Taiwan. Along with passenger flight operations, Taiwan International Airport also happens to be a major cargo hub. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, it was the 7th busiest cargo hub in the world, handling around 2.3 million tons of cargo, and among the major cargo operators include China Airlines Cargo, along with Cargolux, FedEx, and UPS. On the other hand, the second part of this dual airport hub system of Taipei, Songshan Airport, handled just around 6 million passengers in 2018. Along with the current domestic flights, you can also catch flights to China, South Korea, and Japan, along with charter flight operations to and from Taipei. While you see your fair share of wide-body jets at Taiwan International Airport, you might likely see some operations of A330s and 767s at Songshan. In addition to the passenger flight operations at Songshan Airport, Songshan is also home to the Songshan Air Base of the Republic of China's Air Force. And it is here where flights operated by the military for Taiwanese government officials, including the president of the country, operates from. Going forward, much of the plans for expansion are right now being talked about for the Taiwan International Airport, with the Terminal 3 project expected to boost the capacity of the airport to 86 million passengers per year. First announced in 2013, the completion of the project has been delayed, though the centerpiece of this project would be a new passenger terminal building with an area of around 540,000 square meters. Other plans that have been discussed but there are no details yet include the talks for a Terminal 4 and an additional runway to the current 2 operating at the airport. Meanwhile, while there is life at Songshan, there are still some who are in favor of closing the airport in favor of urban development. As of now, there is no indications or decision to close the airport, and with that, it seems that the dual hub system of Taipei will continue. I definitely hope you enjoyed this history of the dual hubs of Taipei, Songshan, and Taipei Taiwan International Airport. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Flights in Asia, highlighting the news and updates from the aviation and travel scene in Asia Pacific. For news and updates related to the aviation and travel scene in Asia Pacific, you can check out the website at www.flightsinasia.com. That's all for now. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.